Hi everybody, welcome back to another edition of Garage Studio Modelers. I'm Dave Forrest with my good friend
Harvey Lowe.
And in today's episode, before Harvey gets to painting his Sheridan, which we kind of shot things a little bit out of order here, so you're kind of looking at the finished product, but we'll get to how the journey to that in a little bit. But before we do, we want to have a bit of a chat about the color olive drab. And that's obviously the base color for the Sheridan, and I've got a little Tamiya 48 scale Sherman here, which is also olive drab, but we've used kind of different paints and methods to get there.
Yes, we have.
And I've used, as I've mentioned previously, I love just coating my models in a dark color, usually either a black or a dark brown.
Okay.
So like I did black for the olive drab, I might use dark brown for like a German yellow.
Okay.
Right?
That makes sense.
And I just think getting everything into the shadows, coating everything. I use an airbrush. I don't use a can because I just can't.
Spraying with a can is an art too.
It is an art, and I'm not there with it. So I'll just
you decant everything.
Well, I just use the jars, and then
right,
and just cut it with 50-50 with leveling thinner, and then away I go.
Because decanting is a bit of a journey too.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I have cans in case. So there is probably an application where I can want to do something really quickly, but left to my own devices, I'll do something. I'll spray it out of an airbrush, and I know you're going to talk about the colors that you used, but for me, for this Sherman here, I use this modulation set olive drab from Mr. Color, and I really like these sets. They do a nice German yellow, which I've used a lot. I've used the German gray, which is also very nice. I have the 4BO, which I haven't used yet, but I intend to on my KV. And this was a bit of a project just to see what this set was like. And as you can see here, I built it up. So I started off with black, and then did the dark color, did the base color, the first highlight, the second highlight. Very similar to what you were doing with the white and the black on the turret piece, to kind of build up and do the highlights. And again, I'm just kind of working from the darkest shadows up to the brightest highlight colors.
Question.
Yeah.
When you start dark to light and you just got a black base and you're starting with that next darkest green, I'll call it black green. Do you cover the whole model in that, or do you just
I work it in. Yes, I don't cover
the whole
model.
model.
So I leave some
you
of the
leave
black.
some of the black.
Yes. So I treat it like.
Got it.
Now, at the end of the day, like if I just maybe the smart thing to do would be just to coat it all and not worry about maintaining the black, because it is pretty dark. But I work it up.
So you would leave some of the black showing in the deepest recesses, would you?
Yes.
And you work the black green around those recesses.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
And are they lacquers?
Yes, they are.
Do they smell?
Yes, they do. Very much. So I use a spray booth. I have a mask. Right. I vent everything outside. I wouldn't. Yeah.
Well, let's have a look at these. Now, how many colors are in there?
There's four. Right. So if I pull them out, there's 4 colors. You've got. I'll just pull them all out here before you. So you've got your. This is your shadow color. So I start with this. So this is the darkest. This is like the black green you were talking about, right? And then I go to a base color. And then you have 2 highlight colors, 1 and 2. So it's kind of it's a paint by number set at the end of the day, right? But I think it's great. Although looking at
look how black that is.
Yeah, it's very dark. Yeah, yeah, it does stink. Yeah. If you use like the I love the lacquers, but I have a mask and I have a big booth and I vent it outside.
What do you thin them with?
Leveling thinner.
Oh, that even is more stinkier.
Yeah. Leveling thinner is my go-to. Yeah. Whether it's the Mr. Color or even the Tamiya leveling thinner with the orange cap, the lacquer thinner. Those are I find those give the best finishes. But I almost find that this is almost a bit too green. Now it'll tone down. Like it's pretty garish now, relatively speaking, but it'll tone down with subsequent. But I almost find like is that really an olive drab? I don't.
And these are straight out of the bottle.
Yeah.
But then you look at the Sheridan where I used the Tamiya. And by the way, I used XF74, and I'm going the opposite way. I'm thinking, wow, man, I still gotta highlight it a bit more, and I want to add some yellows to it. So I'm at the opposite end of the spectrum, thinking this needs more oomph.
Yeah.
So we got to land somewhere in the middle.
So the big thing is, as you do washes on this and weathering effects, I mean, I think everything will tone down. And we'll get there, but to me, it just looks almost looks a little too green.
Actually, I like it because by the time you weather it, it just will bring it down.
Yeah.
Because if I weren't to highlight this even more with OD greens, I was going to add yellows and flesh tones and that, and deepen the recesses even more. If I didn't do that, and I just put a wash, I think it's kind of flat.
Yeah.
In other words, I want even more contrast to this.
Yes. But you're still in the process of building that up, right? You're still like, I've kind of gotten to where I'm going to get.
Yes,
this
I get you.
And then maybe I can use some shaders and whatnot to kind of manipulate it if I have to. Like you said, like you always have that ability to go back and correct and do things or add new effects. But yeah, this was a bit of a study in using this. So I'm not sure. Verdict's still, for me, the verdict is still out on it.
I really like it. Now, do you use these as a paint by number, or do you actually mix these? No, you don't.
I just paint by number.
Okay.
Yeah. And to be honest,
I've never used them. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, no, I think, and even like if I was mixing my own, then it's just by eye, right? I'll start with a color.
You're good.
And then I'll fill a few drops right into the cup of the air. I don't. Yeah, it's hard. Like if you asked me to give you fixed ratios, I'd struggle. And then I was at Wheels and Wings yesterday, and they had the new 48 scale M8 howitzer, so I picked that up. And the reason for doing this, who needs an excuse to buy a new model, right? But the reason for doing that, and I just built this up that was like maybe an hour and a half.
Wow.
If that. Wow. Less than that, maybe an hour. The only thing you have to do on this is there's a bunch of grab handles that you got to they're molded solid. So I spent some time doing that last night.
It's so small.
It's tiny. Well, it's 48 different scales, but still. But even compared to the Sherman in the same scale, it's tiny. Yeah. But it's a little gem of a kit. And this one, I'm not going to use this set. I'm going to use the Tamiya Olive Drab and work that in with flesh, maybe a bit of buff, and just kind of do it by eye, and just to see what the difference is.
Kind of like what I'm doing here by eye.
Yeah. Exactly. So that'll be another kind of this is like a test bed. It's a nice little model. I'll build it largely out of the box, except for the grab handles. Maybe I'll use a copper cable for the tow cable. Maybe I'll add some stowage to it, just a little bit, but largely out of the box. And again, it'll be a painting, bit of a painting mule for testing that olive drab with the Tamiya olive drab.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, where would you recommend some people start? Do you recommend like somebody who's never done this before, your method of doing by eye, or one of these sets?
One of these sets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paint by numbers. Oh, for sure. Yeah. You get like great. I mean, the tone of the color, I'm not sure.
Got it.
But the variation that you get and the modulation that you
get.
It's
done for you.
It's done.
It's true. Like you mentioned buff, we mentioned flash. I was using white on this so far. You can see it's kind of bleachy.
Yeah, so
you got to do it by eye yourself.
Yeah, if you're new to it, then one of these sets, these paint by number sets, are ideal. And there's lots of them. I mean, I've just used these because I love the Gunsy paints. I think the colors are generally good. But there's lots of other options that you have.
I have a fundamental question. Since this is live, and you have no idea I'm going to ask this. Why hasn't somebody done one of these sets in acrylic base? I don't think there is one. Is there?
Question. Well, there's the Valeos do them.
Well, yeah, but not as a, like, would you say, is it a set
like
of...
an acrylic lacquer?
Like a set of paint by... Is there?
Oh, yeah, there's lots. Like, Vallejo does a bunch.
Oh, and those thin Gen 3?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, the Gen 3, I think you can get them.
Yeah.
The Vallejo, like the latex acrylics, you can get them.
As a set like this?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Even Life Model or Life Colors.
Life Colors did
a set, right? So they're out there.
They're out there.
Right? I love the lacquer. Right?
Oh, I like
that's
the acrylic.
That's why I picked this.
Yeah, I like the acrylic because I have a small room and the ventilation's only so. Yep. You've got this garage. You've got that's good. Yeah, but yeah, I it'd be great. I like Tamiya. Or AK. They don't have a paint by number set in Tamiya or
not in Tamiya.
Yes.
No. AK, I think you can get the third gen. I think
third gen. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah.
I think they have them.
Maybe we'll do another episode, but I find airbrushing those thin tubes different. For large surfaces, I do like Tamiya AK.
Yeah, to me, I like I've tried. I like the mission models.
You like mission model paints?
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't, and they're finicky to work with. But I think the colors are spot on, and if you can get that added poly compound that doesn't harden, because that was the knock against it, right? It hardens and kind of goes bad on you. It's a very durable finish. I did my Brumbar in that, and it was, really happy with it.
Yeah, I remember that. That was nice. Did we ever do an episode on chipping? Have we done an episode on chipping?
No, not specifically.
I'll tell you why, because I go in on some of the Zoom calls with the IPMS Northeast New York, the Navy guys. Hi guys at IPMS Navy. And Bruce Fowler, who's there, did a piece on, your work's great, Brian. Sorry, and Brian Fowler did a great piece on chipping using mission models. And he gave me a tip. Try it, because I find different brands of paint. Brian found that you get a different result in chipping. And when he did his experiment on one of his Gundam figures, he used mission models as a chipping paint, and it was more of a scruffy appearance. So I'm going to try it. Thanks, Brian.
I'm guessing he didn't use the polymer additive.
He did. I don't know. I got to ask him.
Probably just thinned it. My guess.
I got to ask him.
My guess.
I have found, again, we're not into chipping, but I found that it's harder to chip AK. It's easier to chip Tamiya. That's what I've experimented. Like, I don't know if the guys are out
if
there...
you're just thinning it with, again, the X20.
Or the
water,
AK or their thinner.
Or whatever they're thinning.
I still find that Tamiya is the best chipper.
Yeah, I've done some... I've tried to do some chipping with lacquer, and you get there, but it's fine.
Yeah.
You get like these fine scratches, because you're really
working.
Generally, you're working at it, but it takes time. It's not as easy a process as what you're describing. Right?
Well, yeah, but Mr. Fowler did it on his Gundam. It really worked. It was his scruffy appearance, and I'm going to try that on my 140 B17. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a chip that's flaked completely off. I'm looking for middle ground.
Like a wear.
Like a wear. That's it.
Yeah.
But and again, we're digressing.
Yeah, you could. I mean, you could do a whole dissertation on chipping, which we'll do at some point. We'd love to do that.
Now, have you ever found, with back to OD Green, there's a couple of charts that are out there. I know. I think IPMS, was it Sweden, used to have one where they I think it's dated though. Maybe you guys can correct us, but I know somebody's done a chart out there that says these are the brands of OD. These are the brands. I just can't remember.
Yeah, it was IPM Stockholm. I think.
That was it.
Yes, it was.
But but when you think back to, it's not just one OD Green. It could vary. These are all different.
Yeah.
And you're right. It doesn't look the same when it's at the bottom of the.
No, you got to really mix it up.
You got to mix them up.
But yeah, so that's OD Green, and maybe we'll do just like we did with Sandy, the SCC colors and 50 Shades of Panzer Gray. Maybe we'll do something on OD and
OD.
and 4BO.
And I know people have been yammering at me because it's more my comfort level. I'll possibly do something on Japanese armor colors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But one step at a time, guys. Okay.
One step at a time. So now we'll shift over and we'll kind of get to Harvey's painting of the Sheridan with the olive drab color.
Right on. Thank you.